Hi, I'm Hayley Victoria and welcome back to my crime and policing channel. In today's session we are doing more evidence-based policing because you guys seem to really enjoy it. And that is music to my ears. I absolutely love evidence-based policing. It just makes sense and I like things to make sense. I'm one of those people when things don't make sense, I question it. I think it's just in my nature and, probably a good thing given what we do for jobs. Anyway, so in today's session, like I said, we're looking at evidence-based policing. And it's super important that we all adopt these approaches moving forwards in order so we can effectively match resources to demand and hopefully minimise crime and disorder in our areas. Remember those Pelian principles and about how the absence of crime and disorder is a true test of police efficiency, not necessarily seeing cops all over the place. It's the absence of crime and disorder, and that's what everybody wants. Evidence-based policing is a joint approach between academics and police officers and police staff and police family, and that's where we tackle these problems together in the hopes of reducing those crimes and the risk to the people in our society. Now, I have already done one video on evidence-based policing, and I'm going to make like a whole series and have like a big one with everything in it so you can watch all that if it's really your bag. And I'm also going to make little small bite-sized chunky videos too, which this one falls into. So this one today we are looking at Atlas. Now Atlas is a mnemonic. As you know, if you work for the police or if you are studying policing and police law and stuff, we've got mnemonics for everything. And that's because it helps so to remember things, if it's like a visual cue, like, oh yeah, I remember that. Because you have things like jog when you're searching people. So your jacket, your outer coat, your gloves, you just remember it, don't you, like forever. You'll be like jumping out of bed when you're like 60 and you'll just recite something because you remembered it from a mnemonic in training. Atlas, again, is another one. And that's so we can remember the structure in terms of this approach to evidence-based policing. Now, Atlas, the one I have, where I get my research from, is from the evidence-based policing practice from the College of Policing, and that's 2016. So if you are looking to use that little piece of information in any assignments or anything, it's from the College of Policing 2016. I didn't make it up, I just talk about it because I like evidence-based policing. So there's also a great book that I am reading at the moment when it's got some about that in it as well, and that's this one, the Police Research and Evidence-Based Policing book. I think it was $17.99 on Amazon. Goodbye if you're into evidence-based policing, and you should be because it's the future. Okay, anyway, the Atlas model. The A in Atlas stands for ask, and that's that question. You challenge that current practice, or you want to know something like, why are we doing this? How could you do things better? What are you doing? The most wonderful thing about having so many new police officers coming through, and coming through the routes of academia as well, is that you're full of ideas, and we need these fresh eyes to come in and be like, what are you doing that for? You ask those questions. It's super important that if you think something's a bit weird, that you bring it up so things can be changed. So the A is for ask, like I said. What are we doing? How are we doing it? How can we do things better? It might be, let's think of like a little scenario. So how do we make sure that we can properly produce or effectively police the low-level antisocial behaviour on public parks, for example? We know that public parks always attract the younger adults who like to drink alcohol, who can't go to pubs. We know that, it's been happening for years. I was drinking 2020 on the park when I was 15. I'm not 15 anymore, and I do not drink 2020 either because it's disgusting. Please don't sue me. Anyway, so at the A for Atlas is ask. So perhaps it's, what are we doing to reduce antisocial behaviour in public parks? That's our question. What are we doing to reduce it? The T in Atlas is for test. Now then, we're going to test and critically evaluate existing research, ideas, and just see, like, what is current research saying about this? Is it saying that perhaps the reason why we get youths are attracted to these areas because there's no CCTV? Is it because they're kind of like closed off with like trees and things like that. It is a place that they can go where they kind of feel safe to go and hang out with friends, but also they're not going to get told off for drinking unusual spirits and stuff. So why is that? And how does this help us to understand current practice? How can you test new ideas to see what effect they have? That's your testing phase of Atlas. Now, L is for learn. And you're learning from existing approaches and new ideas while considering how they're working in practice. What works and why? Is it that if you have more of a presence from your neighbourhoods teams, that it's reduced? Is maybe an intervention at school going to help? Is maybe a stronger partnership with the local council going to help put some cameras up or have more wardens and stuff patrolling? Because I think when people do see like officials, it kind of puts people off. We'd certainly had an issue with antisocial behaviour in the park near my house. And as a curtain twitcher, as you can probably guess, I was like, yeah, this is gross. I'm not taking my child here. There's like dog poo everywhere. There's people have been drawing penises left, right and everywhere. And now you're going for the swans. You don't hurt wildlife on my watch, guys. So anyway, yeah, it was just a bit gross. I made a petition with the council and they've now increased warden patrols, tidied it all up. It's much better. Hopefully it's going to continue. There are a lot less youths on there throwing beer cans at swans and things. Anyway, yeah, so that's what we're doing. We are learning from existing approaches. Does it work to have these interventions in parks? Has something happened anywhere else? Or can we learn from that? Then we adapt our practices. So we know we've got an issue. We've tested the current research. We've learned from our existing approaches, but now we need to adapt our practice to go and solve this problem. So perhaps we're going to increase neighbourhood patrols. Perhaps we are going to, like say, going to schools, have some interventions. Like, well, what are you doing? It's not good, guys. You don't need to be drinking 2020 when you could be doing this, this and this. Perhaps there could be some other kind of educational things in place. Maybe we could recruit some of them to be police cadets and they'll stop messing about like that. The world is our oyster. So with your adapt then, you need to look at what needs to change. How can we do this? How can we implement the research? How can you influence the practice as well? And these are real problems that hopefully we can fix because, low-level antisocial behaviour, from the example we're looking at, it's been happening for years, like since I was a teenager. And it really gets my goat. You can probably imagine this is what I want to do some research on myself because I am baffled as to why it still goes on. And then share, so the S in Atlas is for share, and that's where you share your findings and what's going on. So let's just go from the top then. So A is for ask, you're asking that question. How do we effectively police the low-level antisocial behaviour on public parks? That's our question. Test, we're having a look at existing research. Does it help to understand our practice? What's it saying? Then we learn from these existing approaches and we think how this can impact on our practice. Then we adapt. So we adapt what we're doing. We'll go and try these initiatives out. For our antisocial behaviour example, we're going to go into schools and chat to them. We're going to increase our neighbourhood areas if we can. Because, these small level crimes can escalate, can't they? If you get into that kind of cycle. And, it's such a shame when young people end up with criminal records for stupid things when, they could go on to be like police officers, doctors, professionals in society. So how could we educate them around that? Do they know the impact on the rest of their lives for acting like divs when they are young? And then we share, and that's where we tell everyone the outcomes, who should, and consider as well who you want to tell, like, we've put this stuff in place here. Oh, it's amazing, school results are going up, there's less crud everywhere, families are using the parks because they're not scared, the wildlife is flourishing. How can we share that? Who needs to know this? And how can we share it? Maybe we can publish a journal. Maybe it can be through our community meetings. Now we all get together with our partnerships. Perhaps it could be a whole host of things. So that's just Atlas then. That's one of the things that we use. It's very similar to the 5 steps of the evidence-based policing model that I'm going to do next. But yeah, that's Atlas for you. Ask, test, learn, adapt, and share. I hope that makes sense. Our next video, we are looking at the 5-step evidence-based policing model. We're also going to cover POP, SARA, NDM, of course, in relation to evidence-based policing, and we'll probably round it off with a nice, solid MA. I hope that makes sense to you. I'm super excited that you guys are interested in this stuff. Please let me know in the comments anything else you'd like me to cover. It's been really nice making this video for you, and I'm just so thankful that we've got such a big community growing. I'm also definitely opening up the table to any of you who want to come on and do a video with me. That would be amazing. We could even do like a live one together, as long as there's no swearing. But yeah, just let me know if you want to get involved, because that would be fantastic. But in the meantime, stay safe, look after each other, and please don't commit any crimes.